Sound good back there, man. All right. Welcome in to the Toilets to Trophies. I was going to say Toilets to Titles. It is Toilets to Titles. Why does it still say?
Let me help you out, Coach.
It says it in the show notes. I am sorry. It made me second guess myself. But anyway, it's only episode 3, so it's fair for that to happen. Anyway, let's rewind. Welcome into the Toilets to Titles podcast, episode number 3. It's been a few weeks since the last episode, and we're picking back up. We're trying to get things back to normal. I've wanted to talk about football for a few weeks, but with all this going on, it's been kind of hard to sit down and focus on anything other than just getting by. And today I'm here with my guys. First off, you know him. He's been with me the first 2 weeks. It's Justin Stevens at JustinFF_ on the Twitter. How's it going, Justin?
Excellent. How's it going, Coach?
I'm doing well, man. I'm feeling good. I got my coffee. It's early in the morning. It's a beautiful day. The sun is up. It's and also, you want to know why I'm doing good today?
Absolutely.
Because we got our guy. If you can see my hand over there is my man Nate at Nate_Dirt19. The first time he's our sometimes co-host. Nate's a very busy man. Nate's making me feel good today with his strong beer game. What's happening, Nate?
Not much. How you guys doing today?
Good, man.
I got a question for you, Nate. What's up with the Twitter handle? Where does the dirt come from?
Well, about
because before you actually tell me, I want to tell you what I've always thought.
Okay.
Because I've known you for a while now with playing in leagues with Coach here, but because of some of the logos that you've had in the past, where you have what looks like a hillbilly with the mullet, and
little Joe Dirt mullet.
Little Joe Dirt, yeah. So that's kind of where I'm going with it. Am I correct?
Well, pretty close. I don't know, it's been 10 years ago now, probably. But I used to bartend, and before I kind of was a janitor around the place with another guy, and so they kind of just started calling me Joe Dirt, and then just went from Dirt to there. And I don't know, a handful of people still call me Dirt, but I don't know. That's been a while. I just left the handle though. So
it's beer tag. All right.
Yeah, you get churched up a little bit, right?
Yeah. It's French.
Yeah, fancy.
That's a space peanut.
Yeah, I haven't watched that movie forever. I need to get it back on. It's been a little too long.
That's a good movie.
Oh yeah.
When they're eating the burgers off the meteorite.
That's the best part.
You're my lucky meteorite. And then it's like, that's a big old pile of shit. Burgers off a pile of shit.
There are a few movies that are good every time you watch it, and that's one of them.
Oh,
Step Brothers is another one.
Yeah,
I can watch it.
If you don't like Step Brothers, I don't trust you, because that movie, I don't care what, like, I could turn it on and it could be an hour in, and I don't care where it is. I'll sit down and watch it because it's so funny.
That's a good one. When
they're burying each other in the yard. Anyway, we're here today, back again, to talk about some fantasy football, regular football, all things football. Justin, you can follow him on Twitter at JustinFF_. Nate is at Nate_Dirt19. I'm at Coach Sheps, and the show is at Toilets to Titles. All right, you can follow. You can find us on what Justin had just down there, Podbean. You can find us on YouTube, Periscope. I think we're streaming live in Periscope right now. So on the Twitter machine, you could check that out. And if you're watching, we appreciate you. If you're watching live, we appreciate you. If you're watching on your own time, sometime later in the day. I'm glad we actually get a chance to talk today because. Before we get into kind of the main topics of the show, the three of us are in a few leagues together. I think at least like 3. And this off season, we had to rebuild a league, the Too Legit League. We had like a mass exodus because it's kind of a high price league. And I think I want to say like half the league left. So we had 6. We rebuilt it. There was a time when we didn't know if we were going to be able to save it. We got some new personalities in there. The league is on what's the group chat we got it on? It's WhatsApp or GroupMe, one of those things. It's constantly going. And we moved. Our rookie draft was supposed to be July 15th, which also happens to be my birthday. But I decided I'm gonna move. Let's vote on it. Let's have it and see if we want to have it moved up. Just because it's been kind of so quiet, in the football world, and it'd be nice to have something going on. We voted on it. We bumped it up. We started the draft 2 days ago, and it's already over. And it was 6 rounds long. It's because Shane had, who was our guest last episode, roughly had half the draft picks. And it's Superflex. And it's the last draft I had all off season. So I was, kind of bittersweet ending it, but it was also, exciting to finally start it because I've been waiting. But guys, Justin, you didn't have many picks early on. Nate, when was your first pick?
4-6, I think. It was pretty late too.
Okay, well, so why don't you guys maybe recap? Nate, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on maybe your picks or how the draft went. Did you have any conversations with anybody about trades? Give me your thoughts on that. Well, I like that beach background, man.
That's nice.
Pulled me away for a minute. That's the logo. It's too legit to not be lit. We're pretty hip over there. Nate, what are your thoughts on the draft, man?
Well, I think it was like 3, maybe the end of the third, my first one. I can't remember now.
What's your team, Nate?
Better spec yourself before you wreck yourself.
Woo! Who helped you with that name?
I believe that was you, Mr. Coach Sheps. My team's not. I don't know. It's pretty decent. I took it over, I think, 2 years ago after the rookie draft. Was it? I can't see that far in. It was, but kind of just looked for more defense, but I couldn't really pass on Van Jefferson. I didn't think there with my first pick. Not a lot else out there, but I didn't really. I knew the draft had started, but I knew I didn't have any picks for so long. And then all of a sudden, you guys hit me up, and you're like, "Hey, you're on the clock." And so, but it went. I can't believe it went that fast, to be honest with you.
Yeah, very quick.
The 6-hour pick clock didn't even need to be there, I don't think.
No, but everyone was quick. I took a little bit of time because I was waiting to see if I could make any moves happen, and there wasn't much movement when I was on the clock. But that Van Jefferson, that's a very high upside pick. You got him in the 4th?
Yeah, I believe that's what I said. I couldn't see up there. It's either the.
Yeah, it's the 402.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
That's strong value for a guy who, Cooks is gone. I want to say Woods. I can't imagine he has too much longer left on his contract. Let me check that out real quick. Because then, Woods, you got Kupp, and Kupp, he came back well last year, but you have to imagine that injury is kind of always sitting there. He's basically an injury away from, 100 targets. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Let's see here. Woods is his last, so he's got 2 years left on his deal, but he's got no guaranteed salary next year. So they could cut him after this year, and they'd save $9 million if they cut him next year.
And I'm not sure what how the Rams, kind of ran out of money last year, and we don't really know what's happening with the salary cap next year. If it's going to go up like it was supposed to, or if it's going to go down. We could see them kind of just dumping some more guys, and I think Van Jefferson's in a good spot, and I think that him and Goff will work well. He's where he's supposed to be, and he's nothing too crazy, but I think he's a good route runner, and he's where he's supposed to be, and I think Goff will like that. So
yeah, Goff, that'll earn his quarterback trust early on, like being where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there is, that's the way to get on the field as a young player. How about you, Justin? When was your first pick?
I did not pick until the final round because I was a part of the dispersal draft.
Tell us a little bit about the dispersal.
Well, in the dispersal draft, so anytime that I'm in a startup of any kind, and I treated this one like it was a startup because we had, I think it was like 9 teams in the dispersal or something like that. So there were a lot of teams in the dispersal. So I treated it like a startup. And when I'm doing a startup, I'm trying to focus on building a win now team and not so much getting draft picks and all that. So I didn't really go after any draft picks because I felt like they were going way too high in the dispersal. And then clearly I was kicking myself in the butt the entire time during the draft and seeing all the guys fly off. But I was still excited to get Lynn Bowden at the 603, my first pick.
Yes.
Just because he's pretty versatile. I also believe that he'll get immediate playing time as the backup RB. I don't think that they necessarily want to continue to give Jacobs as much of a load as he got. So, and they can use him versatilely in the slot. And obviously, we all know the story of him playing multiple positions in college. So
he was Taysom Hill at Kentucky.
Right.
But better.
And then I got Antonio Gandy Golden at the 604. And then with the Mr. Irrelevant pick in the draft, Tyler Johnson, which I technically just made this morning to finish up the draft because I goofed last night and it didn't go through. But
goofed.
Yep, I goofed.
This is an IDP league, so if you're wondering why some of these guys fell so late, there were a lot of defensive players taken, and it's an equal scoring IDP league where defenders, linebackers, are pretty strong starts. Safeties are pretty strong starts. Edge rushers who get to the quarterback are pretty strong starts. I had my first year, I had a very strong offense, and I made it I was the 1 seed, and I lost in the Final Four to a team that their offense did jack shit, but their 4 linebackers just annihilated me. So, it's important to have, kind of strong all around. So, but Bowden, I didn't see Bowden going in the 6th is pretty nuts for a guy who you expect to see some sort of volume. They're going to find a way to get the ball in his hands. I know, I think Brian Edwards got drafted there. Henry Ruggs got drafted there. Jacobs is there. So there's some outs to feed, but Bowden's a ball player, who might sound strange saying this because every offensive weapon needs the ball in their hands, but he in particular needs the ball in his hands in any way, shape, or form. Just get this guy the ball. So the fact he fell that late was pretty astonishing to me. Tyler Johnson's high upside, and then Gandy Golden going into this draft season. There's a lot of hype around him. I think if you would have asked a lot of people prior to the NFL draft when you think Gandy Golden will go in rookie drafts, like if you look at mock drafts, fantasy football, dynasty rookie drafts, I feel like he was going in like the 3rd, at the latest. Same with Van Jefferson. If you would have asked about Van Jefferson around the time the Senior Bowl was here, you'd think he was a 2nd round pick, hands down. Right. So the fact that this was IDP helped you in the aspect that you could get those guys where you got them. Now, as far as I had a bunch of picks. I'm constantly throwing picks in all my trades, in years down the road because it pays off. Even during this draft, I was making moves. I traded Gurley for a 2021 1st and 2nd. Not before the draft. So the reason I was able to make that move is I have Nick Chubb, I have Josh Jacobs, but my running back depth behind them is pretty weak because I had Darius Geis and I was counting on him pretty strong. I loved him, 2 years ago, and he really hasn't panned out. So I went, Shane had the first 3 picks. Again, it's Superflex. He went Tua and Burrow, which I wasn't expecting Tua to go. I wasn't expecting 2 quarterbacks to go top 3. I thought there was a chance he might, pass on quarterback in general because during the NFL draft, he was screaming about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Once he went to the Chiefs, I remember in the group chat, Shane was saying, that's the number 1 pick. He went Tua, Burrow, and then Taylor. So I don't have any Edwards-Helaire shares. I took him at 4, and I don't have any Dobbins shares. I took him at 5. And that did it for me in the first round. After that, Swift went, Akers. Chase Young was the first IDP player taken, and he was taken at 8th, which for an edge defender, he better be getting like 15 sacks and 50 tackles. If you're going to take an edge in the first round. And then Akers, then Lamb. I was trying to get back in the 1st to get Lamb, but no one would move with me. Herbert went 10, Judy 11, and Rhaegar 12. But at that point, I had the 2 running backs, and I felt I could trade Gurley re-up for next year. I got a first and second. So now I got 2 firsts and 3 seconds next year. So I'm going to be ready to go. I got my first Pittman share. I talked to you about it at 2.5. I got Patrick Queen at 2.7 and Ayuk at 2.8. So that was my draft. Felt pretty strong about getting Queen at 2.7, because he's going to be a volume tackles guy. The Ravens know what they're doing when drafting linebackers. So definitely happy with that. But why don't you tell me tell me about my Michael Pittman pick. I know you're a Colts fan, Justin, so talk that up a little bit.
Oh yeah, I love Michael Pittman. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of him even as a rookie because we got rid of Devin Funchess, who was supposed to be a big impact for us, but then he impacted his leg in the end zone in week 1. So we got rid of Devin Funchess, so we have room for him in the starting lineup even because I still see Paris Campbell more as a slot guy, and Michael Pittman is a game changer. He can make some plays. So T.Y. Hilton will probably be on his way out the door shortly. Typically, the Colts don't just hang on to wide receivers longer than they really should. They even let Reggie Wayne go before a lot of people thought that he was done. He went to New England for a few days during training camp and then retired. So they're usually pretty good about that sort of stuff. So, and plus I just absolutely trust Chris Ballard, our GM. He's done an amazing job with Kansas City. He did an amazing job so far here in Indianapolis. So I just trust him. So if the Colts draft him, they're probably going to be good players.
How I am with Jerry and Will McClay. I think they generally have a good grip. We hit on, not only do the Cowboys hit on a lot of their picks lately, but their undrafted free agents generally come in and make the team. So it's nice when you have that confidence in I'm laughing because
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't know if Nate has that. I remember talking to him during the NFL draft, and Nate's a Packers fan. And Nate, I remember talking you off the ledge a bit when you guys took A.J. Dillon.
The more I've been kind of letting it sink in, I'm not, A.J. Dillon's a beast. He's huge. I hope he doesn't end up like Eddie Lacy. I don't think he will. I like A.J. Dillon. I liked him a lot going into his senior year at Boston College. I know in our college league we played in last year, I was going to take him and ended up didn't. But, I do like A.J. Dillon. The rest of the draft, I don't even want to talk about it, to be honest with you, because it's just a mess. When you said Patrick Queen earlier, I was really hoping he was coming to the Packers in the first round because we needed that help. Christian Kirksey, I think, will do fine if he stays healthy. He's a big guy to stop the run and everything. I think he'll do well, but I was hoping for some more help for Rodgers, obviously, and Devin Funchess is that guy. So, yeah, I don't know. My friend and I have been talking that he seems to think maybe Curtis Samuel is going to be let go or traded or something. And that wouldn't be too bad on the outside either. So
he'd fit right into that Randall Cobb role, right in.
Yeah, I think he'd do well there. So
I think Devin Funchess actually could be decent in the right role, and I believe that's the role that the Colts are going to try to play him in. More of that. What's that?
Packers.
No. I'm saying when the Colts had him last season.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I believe that was the kind of role that they were going to use him in, and in that first game of the season last year, they targeted him several times in the first half, and he went down on an end zone target. They were going to use him in a lot of packages, and it seemed like it was flowing really well that first half. So I think if they use him, use him wisely, not as a wide receiver one by any means. Obviously, you've got Devontae Adams up there, so that's not even a question. But use him in the right package. I don't know that he's going to be very good for fantasy, but for the team, I think that he could be a great role player in that offense. So,
yeah, I think he's got, he had some upside coming out of college, I thought, and kind of, I believe he played tight end and receiver in Michigan. Is that right? I think
so.
And so, I think he'll have that kind of going for him. And I'm hoping that, Jay Sternberger kind of keeps it going like he ended the year. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's always down after the draft, but it is what it is.
Rising, and Dick Kumro every offseason. That's he's the hype right there. All right,
every year.
That's some recap of the draft we got going on that just finished. What I wanted to talk about next is Scott Fishball. Now, Nate, I know you're hoping that you get the invite, but Justin, you did get the invite, and tell me a little bit, about how you're feeling about getting in. Tell me a little bit about the scoring and whatnot, the settings, and then let's talk some strategy.
So I was very fortunate to get an invite. Hold on one second.
I don't know if you heard that or not. My dogs are going crazy in the hallway, so
didn't hear.
Oh, that's good.
I did the Scott Fishbowl, I want to say, like 3 or 4 years ago, and I came in like 45th, and I was like, all right, I'm never gonna do better than this, and I washed my hands clean of it, So I can't fall off. I can hang my hat on that.
Not a bad thing.
I got in through Destination Devi, at Destination Devi, Ray G over there, because he was one of the few that had a contest through Scott Fishbowl that Scott allows to happen, and so the contest was really simple. You subscribe to his YouTube channel, and you send a snapshot of it to let him know that you subscribed. And so I did that. I was fortunate enough to be the one to get accepted. I actually entered 3 times because I entered once for us, and I figured if we got in, we could do it as a show, which would have been cool. And then I entered it with Engage 8, my other show, and I figured if he accepted that one, then myself and Josh could draft a team together. And then I entered one under my personal account, so he responded to the personal account. So I would have probably still tried to do it as a group, but I didn't want to exclude one group and not the other. So, but don't think that I'm not going to be hitting you guys up for advice throughout the draft. But yeah, as far as the Scott Fishbowl goes, man, these rules are absolutely insane. Let me show you something real quick. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but I know that the people at home watching can see it. But so the rules here. The scoring rule.
I can get.
What's that?
No, I'm just joking.
It's 6 points for a touchdown pass.
Okay.
-4 for an interception thrown. -2 more if that interception's returned for a touchdown. The 1 point for every 25 passing yards. So that's typical. 2 points for 2-point conversions. But on the passing, they also get -1 point if they're sacked. -1 point for incompletions, but they do get a 0.5 point for completions, but that -1 for incompletions and -1 for sacks has really changed the quarterback position in this league. It's still a super flex, so quarterbacks are still kind of important, but the fact that you're going to have that negative is really affecting that super flex position. So a lot of people are let me get back to our screen here so I can see you guys again.
You want to have to check down Charlie's.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly. So Jimmy G is a big one. I've moved Dak all the way up to number 3 because that offensive line is going to keep him from getting sacked. So that's going to save those sack points. I mean, I have several on a list, but I just did.
The offensive line, I do want to kind of clear the narrative that we have the offensive line we've had in the past. It's not, Travis Frederick retired. Tyron Smith's getting old, can't stay healthy. It's really just Zach Martin. Joe Looney's going to be playing center. Connor Williams tore his ACL, and he's back, but he really hasn't developed over the first 3 years. La'el Collins is the dude. La'el Collins, Zach Martin, and if Tyron's healthy, we'll be fine. But if Tyron can't stay healthy, it's going to be it might be a mess. Like not all over, but will be average. Not good. So
yeah,
with Frederick kind of retiring, that hurt us a lot. And then that kind of helps. That affects Dak's sack numbers as well, because he had a guy who was in complete control of the offensive line. Dak didn't have to worry about a thing. He could just worry about getting the ball off. But now you might have a rookie out there, making the calls pre-snap, and that might account for a few sacks.
Yeah. Well, last year, if you took this scoring format with last year's stats, the QB3 overall in points per game was Drew Brees. So he's a high one, believe it or not. But I requested the 12 spot because I love drafting on the corners, and I knew a lot of people would request the 1. So I requested the 12 spot. So
what do you mean you requested? Tell me about this.
It gives you the option a request. So first off, there's like 120 divisions, I think, and there's 12 teams per division. So in the 120 divisions, this year's theme was like nostalgic toys from your past. So yeah, so it's pretty cool. So I went down through the list and I could see how many people requested which divisions. And since I really wanted the 12 spot, because you can put in a request for a spot or a division, and it's not guaranteed that you're going to get either one, but they do their best to try to match it. So the Simon division, you remember the game Simon with the red, yellow, blue, and green? Yeah, I was never good at it. Yeah, exactly. I was never good at it, but and my kids had no idea what that game is, so I actually ordered one on eBay. I'm waiting for it to come in, but I requested it just because they only had one other person that had requested that division, and since I wanted the 12 spot, I thought it might help lock in that 12 spot. And I was fortunate enough to get it before they just started filling in everybody that didn't have a request. So I did get the 12 spot, and then so I still feel, even though Brees was the QB3 last season in points per game, it still kind of makes me feel a little dirty to draft him at that 1-2 spot. But quarterbacks are so important in this league. If you can get 2 really good ones, you're going to have a huge advantage because of that point system. Because after the top 8 or 10, there were a lot of quarterbacks in that next 10 or 8 to 10 on down range that had a lot of 2-point games, negative point games, based on last year's scoring system, or based on
Josh Allen.
What's that?
You don't want Josh Allen in this.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's my guy. Come on now.
Not
not in that league. Hell no.
Yeah, Josh Allen's a much better NFL quarterback than he is a scoring.
Scott Fishball quarterback.
Yeah, Scott Fishball. Yeah, exactly.
Baker Mayfield. You don't want Mayfield.
No, well, I don't want Mayfield anyway. But
Stafford takes a hit.
Well,
he's going to.
He takes a hit because of the sacks, but he also is efficient. But another bad thing about Stafford though is he's smart enough to throw the ball away.
Yeah.
But in this league, it's -1 point for throwing the ball away because it's an incomplete pass. So I mean, so even though he's efficient, he is still going to have a lot of negative points. So
how much is a sack again?
A sack is -1 also.
There's the same.
Yeah. So I feel like that's what Scott Fish does is when he makes up crazy rules every year, it's because he wants to shake things up. And right now, the quarterback position is so important in Superflex, and I think what they're trying to do is make that Superflex not as quarterback heavy, because I'm talking to a lot of guys in these group chats for the Scott Fish Bowl that are like, I'm not even going to worry. I'm just going to throw in another positional guy in the Superflex spot because if you're worried about your number 2 quarterback, who might be Stafford, who might get a couple negative games, you can't trust them in your Superflex. So that's why my strategy is to get a quarterback, hopefully Dak, with that 1-2 turn, because I'm not going to let you talk me out of him, John. And
my guy, I was just talking down the narrative.
Oh no, I got you.
Because people, the offensive line is like thrown out there when Zeke does something and when Dax does something. And I get it. It used to be great.
Yeah,
it's still good, but it's not Indy's offensive line.
Well, Dallas also has a really nice schedule this year too,
and a good passing attack.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not. So also, it's a tight end premium, and you get points for first downs as well, extra points for first downs in this league. So I'm also really hoping that either Kelsey or Kittle falls to that 112, and Kittle has fallen to the 112 in a lot of my mocks. But the closer we get to the draft, which I believe is in like a week or a week and a half, the closer we get to the draft, the more and more Kittle isn't falling to me. So I've noticed that there's a lot of running backs in that area. Like Dalvin Cook has been falling to that point because people are taking Kittle higher because of the tight end.
He carried me my first Scott Fish. So maybe that was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook fall as a rookie.
Yeah, his rookie year. Yeah. So I'm excited. There's a lot of different strategies, but my strategy is to hopefully get Dak and Kittle. And then on the next turnaround, get another quarterback, because I think getting 20 to 25 points a piece from your quarterback and Superflex is going to be a huge advantage over the guys that get 20 or 25 from the quarterback, and then who knows what they can throw in at Superflex. So that's my strategy.
Now, if you don't go tight end early, who are some guys you're targeting like later on?
Well, obviously, at that point, if Kittle isn't there or if Dak isn't there, then that means that they were taken beforehand, which should leave something a little better than what I might believe is normally there. So, like in one mock, it was Devontae Adams. In one mock, it was Dalvin Cook. I was even fortunate enough to get Michael Thomas in one because somebody took your boy Adams, Nate. Over Michael Thomas. Now, if I take Michael Thomas with that 112, though, I was extremely tempted to go ahead and take Brees at the 201. I did not because, like I said, it's just a mock. But in the actual Scott Fishball, I might do that because this is his swan song, season. In my opinion, I think this is his last season, and if he goes out with a bang with Michael Thomas, that connection. So I'm going to do that if I actually do get Michael Thomas, just because.
Your dog likes that.
I didn't know your dog was a Saints fan.
No, he's just saying who day in the background.
But you got to take chances in the Scott Fish Bowl because you're going up against 1,440 people. So, yeah, they've raised the number. So,
listen,
good boy.
Listen, fortune favors the bold.
What's that?
Fortune favors the bold.
Yeah.
So this isn't the time to play it safe. It doesn't mean be stupid, but it means trust your gut and go for it. But with these things, I do know that having those breakout players and drafting them later, like guys that, rookies that are going to go in like the 10th round, but you like them a little bit. If you know they're going in the next round and you can't, you want them and like you got to take them around early. Like I take, like I said with Dalvin Cook, that helped me big time. Like if you want to get a guy like Dobbins, you know what I mean, or even Jonathan Taylor. I don't think Jonathan Taylor is going to go late. He'll probably go, I would say like the 3rd or 4th round. But if there's another rookie or even like a Cam Akers, that's probably a good example. Let's say he'd normally go like 7th or 8th round, and if you're set at wide receiver, you're set at quarterback, and you got your tight ends, you could probably package together something to have a few solid running backs. But that if you could get that one breakout in the 6th or 7th that plays like a 1st or 2nd rounder, that's going to carry you, you know?
Well, I've been pretty fortunate to be able to get a lot of those running backs still at that 7, 8, even 9 round because and maybe even a little earlier because I'm holding off on tight end, even though there's a big premium there because I'm getting Kittle with that first lock. So if I don't get Kittle, I'm still going to hold off on tight end because there's a lot of good tight ends later that I think are going to be very pivotal to their teams that are going to get a lot of first downs because they're going to be relied upon. And I actually, with my last Engage 8 video, we did bold predictions. And I chose Jay Sternberger to be a top 10 tight end for PPR because I could see in that playoff game how much Aaron Rodgers was looking for him. Now, I know he didn't actually target him and throw to him a lot, but he did throw a touchdown pass to him in the playoffs. And for Aaron Rodgers to trust you enough to throw a touchdown or to throw a target to you in the red zone during the playoffs, that goes a long way. So I'm able to get those other rookie running backs early on because I'm willing to wait because I know I'm going to get them late. And it's been really helpful. So I'm pretty confident. I've done a lot of mocks. So that means typically when I'm this confident and I go into it, I'm probably going to fail miserably. So you guys better have your phones ready because I'm going to be
falling, man. we're not talking that into existence.
Hey, it's going to be a success if I don't get last place.
You're gonna finish in the top 100.
Out of 140 guys.
Then what? Why are you doing it then?
Because I'm going to have fun with it.
You play to win the game, Justin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Play to win the game.
Hey, speaking of winning the game.
Yes.
I got to show you guys something.
Okay.
We're going to share the screen again. I know this might get annoying, but this is freaking awesome.
Justin, I'll have to ask my buddy that's in the Fishball. He was in it last year, too. I think he went Watson and Mahomes at the turn in the first round.
Yeah.
And I think that fared pretty well for him, but I'll have to talk to him. I can't remember how he ended up, though.
Fared well for him. Watson and Mahomes, you'll be all right.
Yeah. There's no way Mahomes will get to me. There's no way Mahomes will get to me at that second round. But look at this, fellas. In our Twitter poll, and this was set up by Jeff Lambert at Jeff Lambert 77. This dude decided that he wanted to run a poll, like a tournament, like March Madness style, for 32 of his followers that had under 1,000 followers. And at the time, we only had like right around 30 followers. And right now, our current poll is only 22 minutes away, and we are like 10.5% ahead of an opponent that we've been going back and forth with. Now, the reason this is such a big deal really is more because look at these other polls. 214 votes, 276 votes, 213 votes. We have 406 votes in this poll. So we obviously have well over 200 people that have voted for us. So if any of you are watching this now, watching it later, we greatly appreciate your support because the winner of this tournament gets to go on Jeff's show, the Armchair Fantasy Football Show, and prop our show up. So this is pretty important for us to try to get our word, to get the word out about our show. So we really appreciate you guys. I want to give a shout out to my sister who's been busting her tail to try to get us votes. She works at a pizzeria in our small little quiet town of Greenfield, Indiana, and it's Mozzie's Pizza. So I know a lot of you guys out there live in that area. So appreciate your support. Please go in and check out Mozzie's. Although I don't even have to tell you, because if you know Amanda, you eat at Mozzie's all the time anyway. So
yeah.
But and for you guys, if you're ever in town, I'm taking you to Mozzie's. It's a sports-themed pizzeria. It's good pizza, good fun. So
Mozzie's, big ups to Mozzie's. We might have to. I was saying earlier, we might have to like buy like a $50 gift card for Mozzie's and hand it out, to somebody who's supporting us. You know what I mean? Or maybe we'll buy something for your sister. For
yeah.
There you go.
We only have 100 followers. We had 30 prior to this thing, and I didn't even know we were in this. You made me aware, I think, like halfway through the first round, and now we're at 100. So we gained 70, I want to say, in like 2 days. So, and now we're winning this thing, and we have like double the votes of everybody else. We might make it to the Final Four. And we'll see, man. Maybe we can.
I think we're definitely making the Final Four. We're down to 20 minutes left in this thing, and we're up by like 30 votes. So we should be good to say that we're in the Final Four. So,
so we're going to make it on Jeff's show. Justin's going to finish top 100 in SFB. You know what I mean? And things are good. Things are good. I think getting back to SFB, I noticed in a lot of my drafts, I did a startup earlier in the year, and I did like another activity that we're going to get into, another draft. And Hunter Henry, I know he doesn't have Rivers no more, but he's slipping through the cracks. He is slipping through the cracks. And if that could be your tight end too, I mean, if you only have one startable quarterback and it's tight end premium, you could start a tight end in that flex spot.
If Kittle is gone before my 1-2 turn, then there's a good chance that I wouldn't mind having Hunter Henry as my tight end 1.
Later. But I'm saying, you get him later. But now, if you could have him as your 2 with Kittle, you know, or get him in the 8th or 9th round.
Yeah.
That's something that I wouldn't mind. And then also because you know both of them are going to have their weeks where they can't play because they're a little nicked up. Right.
And there's 3 flex spots also on top of the super flex spot in the Scott Fishbowl.
Before we move on, who are like some rookies or some breakout candidates if you've amassed any lists like that? Like who are some guys in your mocks you notice you're taking, later to kind of round out your squad?
For me, honestly, later, I've gotten a lot of Damian Williams and Marlon Mack because the rookies. I want to make sure I let everybody know this. The reason I was so high on Marlon Mack last season was because of the opportunity. Now I'm more on Marlon Mack because of the value of the draft. So I have a strong feeling that Jonathan Taylor is the better running back, and he will be taking over that backfield. But in the beginning, it's still probably going to be Marlon Mack at first. And in a league like the Scott Fishbowl, if you can jump out to an early lead and get some wins early, as long as your other starting running backs are solid, then maybe that can carry you later. But if I can get and the same with Damian Williams, like I've never been a Damian Williams fan, but with that opportunity and that backfield, he does well. Like you can't deny that. So with the rookie running backs going so high in these mocks, I've been able to pick up the starters, the ones that I think are at least going to start the beginning of the season, as my RB 4 and 5. Even like they're falling that far.
Ingram would be clutch because
I've gotten Ingram a couple times. Yeah, same situation too.
Carried me to a few championships last year. Ingram.
What's that?
Ingram carried me to a few championships last year. He balled.
Yeah, like I said, it's pretty much the same situation as the other two, only Ingram's actually good at football. And I hate to knock Marlon Mack. It's just that I don't think that he's as good as advertised. He just had that crazy good opportunity with a really good offensive line. And I think that Jonathan Taylor should really help carry the Indianapolis Colts.
I wonder if Marlon Mack, hear me out. I might get bashed for this. I remember Marlon Mack at USF, and I remember Miles Sanders at Penn State. They're both similar players. They both flashed in bursts early on in their career. I wonder if next season we're going to be talking about Miles Sanders like we're talking about Marlon Mack right now. Because this is Sanders' opportunity, the same one Mack had last year.
Right.
Now, is Sanders going to step up and show us that he can handle 20 touches a game?
Right.
Or is he going to then next year they draft, somebody and, Sanders is just what he was last year, like a role player. And I think, similar scenarios and situations, let's see how Sanders comes out of it.
Because if Marlon Mack doesn't get hurt last season, and he can show that he can stand up for 16 games, maybe they don't go after Jonathan Taylor like they did, So, yeah, I could see that.
Taylor went in the second, right?
Right. Early second. It was the second or something like that.
What a steal. Fournette went 5th. Or 6th,
Yeah.
Fournette was a dude coming out of high school, and don't get me wrong, he was a dude his first year or two at LSU, but he just took a step back. Geis, if you watched his final year at LSU, you watched him and Geis, you would have said, I can't speak for you, but Geis ran with power and passion.
Yeah.
And Fournette ran.
Yeah, and Geis, to answer your other question, Geis is another guy that you can get really late in redrafts or Scott Fish.
I love that guy.
I can't not. I want him everywhere, and I don't know why. Maybe this is the year to play 16 games.
He's the offensive equivalent. As an LSU fan, he's the offensive equivalent of the Honey Badger to me. He just plays with so much passion and emotion. That's why I love Dez so much. I love guys that play the game like it's their last game. I love that. and he plays like that. He's like a running fist. Where's my hand? Like he just runs like a fist going through a wall, and that's part of the reason why he gets hurt. Anyway, comparing Taylor to Fournette.
Bob Sanders on offense.
What's that?
Bob Sanders on offense.
Yeah. Oh, Bob Sanders was a.
And Chef, by the way, I figured since we were talking about me trading Miles Sanders to you, he probably would have had a really good year this year if I would have traded him. Yeah. So since I kept him, he'll probably be pretty poor. So
we'll see, but he's got opportunity.
I hope.
You last year you had Andrews before the breakout.
Yep.
So now maybe Sanders is your Andrews this year.
I hope. They're trying to be over 500.
All right. So we talked about Scott Fishball here. Now I just wanted to talk before we wrap this thing up. I partook in a 32 NFL mock draft. It was a startup draft. It was done from the style. We each picked a team. There were 32 analysts in here, and I cannot list them all. All right, but we did the draft from the perspective of an NFL GM, and who put this together was Jake Shivink. He's at Jake NFL Draft, and this was for the Experience Football Podcast at Experience_FFFTBL at Experience_FTBL. They're on Twitter. They only got 74 followers, so give them a follow. But it's at Jake NFL Draft. He's one host, and at Nate JW Sports. And these guys, so again, they put together 32 guys in here, and we each picked a team, and every single NFL player and rookie was put into this draft pool. I want to pull up, just bear with me here. I'm pulling up the Google Sheets with the way this draft went. So I was the Dallas Cowboys, and I believe, I picked 8th or 9th. I'll tell you in a second here. My Google Sheets is opening. All right, here we go. Now with me, originally what I was going to try to do, I wanted to go quarterback early. Okay, I wanted to build my team around a quarterback. Where did I pick here? All right, I picked 12th. Okay, and I picked Dak Prescott as my first quarterback here, and I figured, all right, let me build around a quarterback. I'm happy with that. And then from there, what I was going to try to do, I was going to go Jamal Adams and Derwin James. I was going to go 2nd, 3rd, Adams and James, and build around, 2 strong candidates. And they were both gone. I'm sorry. So I picked 9th. All right. For some reason, the numbers on Google Sheets are off a little bit from the order. So I picked 9th. So I had Dak. Lamar went first before Mahomes. Then went Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray, Aaron Donald, Nick and Joey Bosa, and then I went with Dak. Jalen Ramsey went next. Joe Burrow went next. Drew Lock went in the first. Drew Lock went 15th.
It's because the Young Jeezy clip when he's rapping, everybody wants him now.
Did that go to the team named the Denver Broncos?
Yes, it did.
They didn't know the rules. You just thought you were drafting your own players.
That was Patrick Chiotti. He picked Lock. So I went Dak, and now I wanted to build defense. So in the second round, because it was snake style, I picked towards the end, and I took Darius Leonard. Figured I got Dak, I got the quarterback of the offense, I got the quarterback of the defense. I got 2 dudes.
And your defense, you did go defense. Your defense is stacked.
Championships, man.
Yeah.
So then I picked early in the second, and I picked Zach Martin. So I got 3 All-Pros in the first 3 rounds. Before Zach Martin, when Jair Alexander went early 3rd, Devontae Adams went right after Jair Alexander. Bradley Chubb went, Denzel Ward, and Ryan. I got Martin, the pick after Ryan Tannehill. Forrest Buckner went right after that, which the Colts have. He's a stud. Mike McGlinchey, Casey Hayward, Derrick Henry. Yannick Ngakoue went in the 3rd. Saquon went late 3rd. Zeke went right after Saquon. Tyrann Mathieu, Xavier Howard. So the guys are taking this serious. We're building squads. And then in the 4th round, I took Kevin Byard, who, he's an all-pro safety. He's not a big name because he's in Tennessee, but the dude gets the job done, and he's still fairly young. So all the 4 of these guys are under 30. Isaiah Simmons went after that. Buda Baker went after that. Anthony Costanzo, DJ Moore, Andrew Thomas, Jadeveon Clowney. Sutton went early 5. Ed Oliver. I went Ali Marpet, the offensive guard, in the 5th round. So now I got my 2 pillars to protect Dak. Byard. I'm building from the middle, I'm realizing, rather from the outsides. And people might criticize me because my wide receivers aren't all that strong, but I built from the middle. And then in the 6th, I picked it late 6th. I got Deron Payne. So I finally went D-tackle. So again, another interior pick. And then I picked Devin White in the 7th. So I'm not going to bore you going through all this, but it was just a lot of fun thinking as a GM and thinking what I value. I value protecting the quarterback. I value stopping the run. I value leaders, tough players, right? Deron's tough. Darius Leonard's tough. Kevin Byard. So my squad ended up looking like this. I got Jonathan Taylor later. So I went Dak at quarterback, Jonathan Taylor. I got Tony Pollard as my 3rd down back. I got Anthony Miller, Jalen Reagor, Cole Beasley, and Auden Tate. So I got the big, wide receiver, and then I got a lot of shifty little guys. I realized I'm kind of doing what Buffalo's doing on offense, and I think that bears well with a defensive-minded squad, right? Run the ball, spread the ball out, get first downs, live to die another day. I got Hunter Henry at tight end, who we talked about earlier. Tackles are Titus Howard and Caleb McGarry. Zach Martin and Ali Marpet are my guards, and I moved Ron Leary from guard to center. He used to be a Cowboy, and he took snaps there early in his career, so I got him back. Defense, I got Sam Hubbard and Yetur Gross-Matos, so I got my pass rusher, Deron Payne and Dalvin Tomlinson. And Tomlinson, he's a quiet, he produces for the Giants. You don't hear much about him. You didn't really even hear much about him when he came out of Alabama, because you hear D linemen all the time come out of there and get highly touted, and he wasn't. But the dude, he's a run stuffer. So I got Deron Payne, Dalvin Tomlinson, Devin White, Darius Leonard, Sion Takitaki, and Jelani Tavai. So I got some strength, some guys who can run. My safeties are Kevin Byard and John Johnson. John Johnson's a guy who got hurt last year, who was another all-pro candidate at safety. People forget about him because he's out in L.A. and he's not the flashiest player. And then I got Marquise Blair, Trayvon Diggs, and Travarius Ward. So I feel very strongly that this squad could produce, any given Sunday.
Yeah, I said that defensive secondary is pretty nasty, so I think he'll probably be doing just fine.
I think if anybody has an opportunity to partake in something like this, talking just because it's funny to say, he rushes the passer and he covers well for a linebacker.
Yeah.
He's a sideline to sideline guy.
Was he hurt last year? Or
Cleveland? I don't know if he got hurt. He was a rookie.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think. I know he's on my taxi squad and too legit. I know that, but I just know Joe Shubert carried the load in Cleveland, and then now he's in Jacksonville. So
yeah, Joe Shubert. He gets a bad rap too. That guy can play.
He's a beast.
Him and Kirksey, they had 1 year in Cleveland where they were just eating running backs, legitimately eating them.
I'm fairly certain that in Too Legit, I think the only 2 guys on my team that scored higher than Joe Shubert were Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers. So
I played against Shubert his rookie year. Somebody had him in one of my fantasy leagues, and I never had a linebacker put up a performance in a 1 week basis that Shubert did. And after that, he just stamped his name on my brain. And I try to get him wherever I can because he 15 tackles in a game, man. You know who's kind of like Joe Shubert? Matt Milano. Matt Milano from Buffalo is another guy, just gets it done,
I feel like in all of my IDP leagues, I tend to pick him up every offseason.
Cole Holcomb. Cole Holcomb's another guy, man, Washington. He's another guy who, as long as he starts there, which he should, he's a tackle machine. Those in IDP, I don't want edge rushers. Unless you're getting 19, 20 sacks, I want tackle machines. Look at Blake Martinez. Blake Martinez wasn't even good, but the dude tackled, 6 yards upfield, tackle. The running back already gained the first down, but Blake Martinez was there making the tackle. So those are the guys. Who cares? And then if you're going to draft a corner, I see people take corners that are lockdown corners. Why are you taking a lockdown corner in fantasy football? I don't want a guy who might not get a target the whole game. If the quarterback's not throwing the ball his way, I don't want him. I want the guy who's the rookie that the quarterback is trying to test. I want the guy who's opposite the lockdown corner. Like this year, you know who that's going to be? Noah Igbenogany, Auburn, who's playing in Miami. You know why he's going to get targets? Because he's got Xavier Howard and Byron Jones next to him. Where do you think the quarterback's going to throw the ball? You know, that's the guy I want.
Yeah.
He's going to fall into passes defended. He's going to fall into tackles, you know?
Yeah, fair point. I forget who it was last year for the Saints.
Charlie Gardner-Johnson?
No. A veteran. He's been there a few years. They just declined his 4th-year option, I believe.
Lattimore?
What?
Not Marshawn Lattimore. He didn't get declined, did he?
No. Shoot.
They picked up Janoris Jenkins late in the year. They had Eli Apple for a little bit.
Yeah, Eli Apple. That's what I was thinking. I gathered a lot of points off of him for that same reason.
Because he's
yeah, he sucks. Yeah, he sucks, but he gets tackles. Actually, he got a lot of assisted tackles. He didn't even get a lot of tackles, but it's points.
Yeah. But you got to when you're playing fantasy, you got to change your mindset, especially on defense. You know, it's production over talent. You know.
So you need Buster Screen.
I even tried
Buster Screen. He had his day.
He's garbage. Get him.
Eli Apple.
He's getting beat all day long.
I tried to trade Eli Apple in the fictional league, and nobody wanted him. I'm like, just look at the points. Like, don't think about the fact that he sucks. Look at the points, and yeah, they didn't pick up his other option, but somebody will probably pick him up because I mean he knows the position. he knows to play the nickel position. He's just not good at it.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, let's say what's not good, right? Like not good is relative to what you have on your roster, you know? And there's teams that they barely got one guy who can play, you know? And if you got a guy who can do the position somewhat and gives a window of a yard rather than a window of 3 yards, you know, then that's good to them. You know, he'll definitely end up on a team, especially now that rosters and they're increasing the size of rosters. So he'll land somewhere. Will he start? Who knows? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he sees the field. You know.
Do you think that they're increasing the size of rosters to help prep them for having 2 more regular season games?
We could get into. Do I think that could be the long-term goal? You know, do I trust the NFL? If I trusted the NFL, I would think no, but I don't trust the NFL. So I could see them saying we're adding roster size because we don't want players to get hurt because there hasn't been a sufficient training camp. That's what I think they're saying. Do I think that's what it is? I don't know. So, I mean, you could be right. They could be saying, hey, we're going to give you an inch so that they could take a mile.
Right.
You know? But that's a whole nother conversation. You know, I don't know. I just hope they don't water down the game, man.
We're almost an hour in. I probably shouldn't be bringing up new topics.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're having fun here. We're having fun.
Yeah, this has been great. I didn't even realize it was an hour. Like, I'm getting phone calls from my dad because I was supposed to have left like 20 minutes ago.
All right. Well, listen. Your hat said cheers. My hat, it's Pride Month, so I'm supporting right here. That's my hat. But Justin's hat says cheers, which it could also be sayonara or sayonara for those of you who are bilingual. It's been fun chatting with you guys, Nate. It's been great having you on for the first episode. How do you feel getting through this? Because we've been talking about it, trying to get you on, and you're finally able to come on. Do you feel like a real member now?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time I've ever been on anything like this, so it was fun. I've been looking forward to doing it, and you know, since the whole beginning of us talking about it, and you know, my work schedule is a little odd sometimes, so you know, I usually have Fridays off, and we're not cutting down any trees today, and so I gotta do some housework, but not till later. And I'm gonna play golf too today, so you know, but it's been great. You know, I couldn't be happier. It's a lot of fun, and you know, I'm glad you guys are letting me be a part of it. But that's for sure. So,
right on. All right, guys. Well, Justin, it's been fun, man. Episode 3's in the books. I'll get this wrapped up and cleaned up so I can throw it on Podbean. Share it. Give the show a follow. You see our handles at the bottom there. I don't even need to. Well, I guess if you're listening to the show, right, they don't see it. It's at Coach Sheps, at Coach SCHEPPS, at Nate _Dirt19, at JustinFF_, and then it's at Toilets2Titles. Man, look, we're in sync right now. You threw that up there right in time. You can, if you're listening to us on Podbean, you can find us on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can find us on Podbean. You can watch us live on Periscope. Follow our Twitter handles. You'll know when we're going live. If watching, podcasts is your thing, we got that for you. If listening to podcasts is your thing, we got that for you as well. And again, I don't know when our next episode will be. Probably do it within a week or so. As we get closer to football, and as things start to happen, it'll be much easier, to talk about this and to schedule this. I hope you understand things have been a little crazy. The world has been a little crazy. And for some of us, football might have been on the back burner. Instead of waking up and thinking about it all day, I'm waking up and going to bed thinking about it. So, but we had this draft. It was a great opportunity to talk. And if there's anything you want us to talk about, if you're in SFB or if you're in leagues where you're drafting, tweet at us. Let us know all your questions. We might not get back to you right away, but we will get back to you, and we'll let you know what we're thinking. And then if you have a good question, we might talk about it on air. So, again, we appreciate you all for listening, for voting, for following, all that stuff. We hope you and your families are staying safe and healthy, and hope things are going well. And we will talk to you again very soon.
If you're on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Give us that like. Give us that comment. We absolutely love you guys. And just real quick, hit up on all this crap that's been going on in this world. At the end of the day, we just got to love each other, guys. Everybody.
Universal language of love.
We're all in this together, guys. All right. Thanks a lot.